Hey guys, it's Miharu and welcome to another Valentine's Day video. A couple years ago, I ranked all of Ratchet's love interests across his series, and last year I did the same for Spyro. So this year, instead of ranking romances involving a singular character, I asked you guys to give me your hot takes regarding ships. I'm very curious as to how all of you view certain pairings, so let's dive in. I don't ship Spyro and Allura. She just seems a bit older than him. Besides, Spyro doesn't seem interested in her romantically. I don't like the romance between Spyro and Allura, because to me, Spyro feels quite a bit younger. But even if you read them as being close in age, it still feels unnecessary and like it was thrown in without much thought. Allura and Spyro as a ship is overrated. Okay, starting off strong with some Spylora takes. Those of you who have been around this channel long enough know that I personally don't ship this. I never have. I always just saw Allura as like a big sister type character. And it never had anything to do with age or even because it was interspecies. I mean, I ship Hunter and Bianca, so that never mattered to me. I just didn't see it. It wasn't there for me. And when Reignited started pushing it a little more, I kinda found it weird. Spyro and Ember by far. Flame is probably better for Ember, but I think if Spyro really gave Ember a chance instead of treating her like the plague, she could probably show a lot of love. An actual hot take I unironically stand by. Spyro and Ember is better than Spyro and Allura. Firstly, I don't find Allura to be an interesting character in general. She just seems like a bland girl character exists, so obviously romance must form kind of character, without much else to her beyond that. Whereas Ember is anything but bland. She's a whimsical, infatuated airhead with no filter that Spyro doesn't quite know how to deal with, and I find that extremely charming. Okay, let's back up a bit. I can't tell if you're trolling, but Allura seems like the bland girl exists to be love interest character, but Ember doesn't. Ember, who has the pinkest, girliest design ever, shows up, does nothing, and immediately loses her infatuation with Spyro as soon as someone else shows interest in her. She's a more engaging character and a better match for Spyro than Allura. No. And this is coming from someone who likes Ember, is entertained by her, used to ship Spimber, and has never shipped Spylora. No, I don't agree with that. Spyro's ships from Skylanders are more interesting than either Spylora or Spinder, in particular Stealth Row, and especially from Skylanders Academy. Spywind from Skylanders is an unexplored goldmine. There's something there that makes for a compelling ship. I personally ship Spyro and Whirlwind. I am so glad these were brought up. Stealth Row is a ship that I never really thought about until last year when I did my video, and I ended up rating Stealth Elf as the third best love interest just behind Cinder and Allura. They had a really solid bond, and though it wasn't romantic in Skylanders Academy, it would have made a lot of sense to me if it was. Now, Spywind, I'm not ashamed to admit I shipped this when Spyro's Adventure came out. Why? I couldn't tell you. I think I just saw a new female dragon character, not realizing how many there would actually be, and I just rolled with it. The reason Whirlwind wasn't included in my video last year is that I don't think there was enough evidence to support them as a couple. Like, Skylanders fans, do these two ever directly interact? Because I couldn't find anything. A really unpopular one is Spyro and Bianca. Hunter for me never felt like he was that interested in this stuff, while Spyro and Bianca started working together to defeat the sorceress after she had a change of heart. Maybe it's just because I'm a big Hunter and Bianca shipper, but I can't say the idea of Spyonka ever crossed my mind. For one, I don't think Spyro ever fully liked Bianca, or at least it took him a while to accept her as part of their group. You know how when you don't really vibe with your best friend's significant other, but you act okay with it because it's your best friend? Not to say Spyro is just holding a grudge, but that's always what it felt like to me. Ratchet x Angela all the way. Ratchet and Angela sorta reminds me of Spyro and Alora's relationship. I just see a lot of parallels.
I see a lot of parallels too. One of those being I also don't ship this because I see Angela as an older sister type. Or at the very least, Ratchet might have a crush on her and feels that she needs protecting due to her clumsy nature. But in terms of boy short, girl tall, and a thank you kiss at the end, yes, I do see the similarities.
Ratchet x Talwyn is the canon relationship no matter what characters we as fans like and don't like. The games and comics hint those two deeply care for each other, and those two have definitely had an off-screen sleepover by now. Talwyn just never worked as a love interest for Ratchet. Ratchet's ships with Sasha and Rivet have far more chemistry and feel more natural than Talchet.
Okay, there are parts of this I agree with, and parts I don't. Let me first make it clear that I accept Talchet as canon. While I agree Talwyn lacks development in her game appearances, I can see what Insomniac was going for and why they made the decision to have her be Ratchet's girlfriend. Now, here's the kicker. In my heart, I'm a Satchet shipper. I love Sasha, think she deserves way better, and part of me still believes she should have ended up with Ratchet. The thing about Rivchet, though...
People only ship Ratchet and Rivet together because of product marketing and because she's a female member of Ratchet's species. For the love of all that's holy, people need to stop shipping Ratchet and Rivet. They are the same person in different dimensions. At this point, they might as well be siblings.
I am also somewhat of this mindset when it comes to this pairing. So many people have tried to argue that they're not dimensional counterparts because something about lorbs, but I won't get into that. Point is, Rivet was literally conceptualized as different dimension Ratchet, and even if that may not be the case anymore, I still look at their interactions as being written this way. Maybe it's just because I'm kinda torn between Talchet and Satchet already, but I'm telling you, I just can't read this relationship as being romantic.
Crash deserves someone better than Tawna, considering Tawna dumps him for Pinstripe of all people. Crashana doesn't work as a ship. Alt-Tawna works better, but I still think Crash has better love interest possibilities.
Alright, another thing I'm not ashamed to admit, I am a Tawnstripe shipper all the way. Maybe it's because I really like Pinstripe, maybe it's because I don't ship Crash with any canon characters, but I like it. Mob Boss and his wife, how can I not love that? In regards to Crash and Alt-Tawna, I can see where it might make some sense, since they could be a fun adventure couple, and his zany personality can break through her tough exterior, but they definitely don't give the same Roger and Jessica Rabbit energy.
I believe that Coco Bandicoot found her girlfriend with a Tawna from the alternate timeline. They're even seen in one scene of the game holding hands and looking at each other with admiration a few times as well.
You know, it kinda surprised me that this is the second most popular Alt-Tawna ship on AO3, cause okay, I can at least see where the appeal would be in something like Rivchet, but this is absolutely the most sibling relationship I've talked about in this video. I just cannot see Tawna, either version of her, as anything but an older sister to Coco. And no, they don't hold hands and stare at each other longingly. Tawna takes Coco's hand and they walk for a bit before Coco runs off like an excited little kid. There are no romantic undertones here.
I don't think this is a hot take, I just need to get it off my chest that Naughty Dog sidelining Kira in Jak 3 for Ashlyn and having her be Jak's first kiss has pissed me off to no end ever since I was a kid. Hottest take ever. Jak and Ashlyn was a good pairing. I would have wanted to see where a ship with Jak and Ashlyn would have gone.
Wait, Jak and Daxter had sequels? In all seriousness, I've always liked Jak and Kira as a pairing, so I too was majorly confused when she seemed to be tossed aside in favor of Ashlyn. In fact, for the longest time, I just assumed Kira no longer had a part to play. But then I found out that off-screen Jashlyn kiss happened in Jak 3, and at that point, Ashlyn was already implied to be in a relationship with Torn, which is then confirmed in Jak X, where Kira also kisses Jak, so this whole thing is just a mess. Now, I've heard what this comes down to is just development issues where Kira's original voice actress couldn't come back, so they had nothing else to do with her, and I guess at one point they just thought that Jak should have a cooler, edgier love interest. but it's messy nonetheless.
Okay, hot take, I like Sly and Neela more than I do Sly and Carmelita. I guess while I get the whole cops and robbers trope, I just think Neela did it better than Carmelita, and I like the back and forth banter between her and Sly. Neela feels like what Carmelita should have been after Sly 2. Neela and Sly would make a devastatingly great ship over Sly and Carmelita if she wasn't driven by power. The chemistry in Sly 2 was palpable till the betrayal. Sly being torn between Carmelita and Neela would have been more interesting had the plot twist in Sly 2 not happened so early on. Here's a hot take, Sly and Neela.
Putting my hatred of Neela aside for a bit, there is some truth to this. Yes, she and Sly did have an interesting dynamic and some good banter. Yes, it would have been nice to get to know her a bit more before the plot twist. Actually, all of this contributes to her not being a likable character in my eyes. It often felt like she existed to drive a rift between him and Carmelita, and I just never liked that. Especially since they made Neela come off as more sophisticated and intelligent. It just wasn't a good first impression. But I suppose in some alternate universe where she isn't a power-hungry maniac, she and Sly could work as a couple.
I don't think Sly and Carmelita make a good couple. Carmelita likes the idea of Sly and only took a shot for romance when she believed he had amnesia and was no longer a thief. She's married to her work, not him. Carmelita x Sly is great, however, it depends on Sly denying a major part of his heritage, and that's not okay. I get that the ending of the third game was supposed to be like a new chapter in Sly's life, where his story is complete and he doesn't need to be a thief anymore, but it comes off as bittersweet at best, low-key toxic at worst.
You know, I can see where you're coming from, but I think the rockiness of this relationship is what makes it so endearing to so many people. They love each other, but neither can deny who they are and what they're meant to do. I do think that they should be able to come up with a better system where they can consistently work together, though. Or at least, well, okay. I'm gonna end this video with a question. Do you think either Sly or Carmelita should give up their work in order to maintain a stable relationship? Or can it only work just as it is now? Thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, let me know how you feel about all these pairings in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more casual gaming content, and I will see you next time. Until then, this is Miharu, signing off.